What's up, everyone? Kevin Carrillo here, and welcome to another episode of the Cannabinoid Connect podcast. My guest today is Marc Wasserman, criminal attorney and co-founder of Pot Brothers at Law.
All right, guys, we're going to get this going. I'm not sure. My brother might be hung up on a call or who knows what. We can get started, and we do this a lot, actually, where, he'll just pop in as soon as he can. We can wait a few more minutes. Up to you. Your show.
Let's get started. I'm down.
All right.
I just started recording, so.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
First thing I want to say is I want to give a shout out to you, Marc, because I've been checking out or I've been tuning into some of your early morning workouts.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like you're not wanting COVID to affect your immune system, and I feel like you're staying healthy. So you're doing what it takes. So shout out to that. That's cool stuff.
Oh hey, hold on. Okay, my brother's he's gonna be caught up, it looks like. Okay, he's gonna miss out on this one, but it's okay because everybody usually just wants to talk to me anyway.
He'll be with the spirit. It's fine. No worries. So what made you want to start doing those workout videos? What inspired?
Well, so let's see. I go back to about 2007, 2008 when I was, before I became an attorney, I was an actor. And I kept up with my acting after I became an attorney. And I did a movie in 2008 called Grappling with Your Demons that I had to gain 50 pounds and then lose it.
Whoa.
And so when I did that, right at that time, a program called P90X was just coming out. And my director told me I had 90 days, I had 3 months to get in shape to shoot the rest of the film. And I kept seeing this get ripped in 90 days commercial. And so I got it. And it was money back in. I did it. And within the first 30 days, I saw it was just like instant results. And so I did that P90X program back then for that. And then, so that was 2008. So really for the last 12 years, my weight fluctuated because of different movie roles that I would take. And so the only time I worked out was when I was getting in shape for a film or something. And I just fluctuated over the years. And then when the pandemic hit, just before that, maybe not just before, but maybe 5-6 months before that, my wife was getting on me because I was busting out of all of my vests. I was not fitting into them. I was gaining a lot of weight. And I said, this is no good.
The time. Yeah.
And so I started doing the workouts again. And over the years, I've done pretty much all of those Beachbody workouts, P90X, 1, 2, 3, Insanity, and all that stuff. All of it. I've done it all. And so there's a workout program that they came out with called P90, which is geared toward it's a little less jumping around and all the crazy stuff that they do, but it's still really good. And I decided I'm just going to throw my Instagram Live and Facebook Live and TikTok Live on different phones and just start working out and see if anybody watches and see, hey, this is what I'm doing while I'm stuck at home. What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
I had a lot of friends who all they were doing were eating. And I'm like, and so I started doing it and people started watching. People were messaging me, hey, I'm working out with you. Or they I do the wake and bake. So I smoke before I work out. I work out. I smoke after I work out. And I got people who are just smoking and watching or working out. And now I've been doing it now. I think I've been doing it now for a good solid 2 months. And I'm just started the 3rd month of the program. And, I've been told I've been inspired a lot of people to work out, and I think it's important just to stay healthy and fit active. I've got 3 kids that I got a 15, 10, and 7-year-old. I got to keep up with those kids.
Yep.
And I'll be 52 in July. So I thought it was very important. And plus, I have a wife who is an avid health nut and works out herself every day, running and all this other stuff. So I got to keep up with her.
Yeah. Well, you and I have a lot in common in terms of one, just kind of stressing the importance of any kind of exercise. You know, I'm not saying by any means I'm a gym rat where I'm in there every day, but at least I try to be. All right. I'm conscious at least to do something throughout the week, you know. But what's crazy about what you said is that weight fluctuation. Whoa. So that's what I can also relate to. You said you lost 55 pounds and then you gained 55 pounds.
Well, I gained it and then I lost it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The role I played was a guy who he's in great shape. He's got a great life. He ends up causing the death accidentally of his 10-year-old son.
Whoa.
And so his whole world goes out of control, and it spans over 10 years. And so over those 10 years in the movie, he gains all this weight. He's crazy. And so I gained the weight to shoot that part of the movie. And then I lost it to shoot the beginning part of the movie where he was in shape. And so that was, it was fun gaining it, I tell you, you know, eating pancake, it's cookie, whatever I wanted. I drank sugar.
Yeah.
I would pour sugar in my mouth. Just you know, because that's you want to gain, you want to get fat, sugar. That's it.
How did you feel? Terrible? Was it just so like?
Yeah. It was sluggish. It was. It was awful, and my doctor was really mad at me. But then
you go to a dark place whenever you cut the weight, because I was a wrestler since I was 5 years old. So, but in high school is when I really, and part of college is when I really cut a lot of weight. And you go to some dark places, man, when you're hungry and you're starving, you know. So that's tough. 55 pounds is a lot of weight to cut. So I bet that was a struggle also.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just did it. You know, I did a very strict, low carb, high protein diet. I mean, I did, I don't know if you know about Hugh Jackman when he got ready for Wolverine in those movies.
Yeah.
One of the things he did was, you know, 1, 2 in the morning, he's eating, you know, pounds of meat, right? For that protein. So I would get up in the middle of the night and just eat a couple burger patties and set my alarm and then go back to sleep. You know?
Yeah.
So do what you got to do.
That's right, man. Well, keep it up. You're inspiring people to stay active, and that's a good thing, especially during these times. So let's talk about, okay, you know, the majority of people within the cannabis community are familiar with the Pot Brothers at Law. You guys produce a lot of great content, and you're helping a lot of people navigate through the judicial system when it comes to, you know, getting pulled over or having possession or what have you, right? But I'm sure that all that success and all that shit didn't happen overnight. It was probably a dogfight at the beginning, especially during the times where, you know, the regulations on cannabis were so, you know, highly regulated. So tell me about how you first got started with your brother and what made you take this path.
Well, so my brother was an attorney 10 years before me. He had become an attorney. And so that was, I believe, in 1986, he became an attorney. And I was deep in the middle of my acting career, and I was writing and doing a lot of other things. And I had actually decided, me and a buddy of mine, we wanted to open our own production company and finance the plays and films I was writing. And so need money for that. My oldest brother is a doctor, and he, in fact, you can see he's all over he was just on the front page of the New York Times. He's been all over CNN and in all the news. He's a geriatrician, and he's very involved with all the COVID stuff and the elderly people right now.
Shout out to Jim.
And his name's Dr. Michael Wasserman. And
shout out
fun fact, me and my brother Craig don't really talk to him all that much.
Okay.
We gotta repair a few things, but he's out there doing his thing, doing good. And but I bring that up because we'll go be a doctor and make a lot of money. But I was never gonna go to fucking school for 10 years. I barely made it out of school myself. You know, I was not a student. as that goes. So my other brother here, he's an attorney, and well, fuck, if he could do it, I'll do it. So I basically I went to the law school he went to, and when I came out, I got sworn in. It was 1996. I also opened my production company, and I started practicing law and making plays and films, just like I wanted to do. And so in 1996, when I got admitted into the bar in California, that's the same year that Prop 215 was enacted, which gave cannabis patients their rights to grow, consume, possess, and use cannabis.
What year?
And 1996.
6.
1996, Prop 215. So it was still a crime. It was still a felony. It was still a felony if you were driving around with it, and if you had it.
Federal level, right? But of course, but
state level also.
Oh, state level also. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In 1996, these were felonies to possess and grow and cultivate and drive around with and all that. They were felonies, and so those who had their physician's recommendations, cards from doctors who recommended they need cannabis, and had their grows, or were driving around with it and got busted and hit with felonies, we were able to defend them using Prop 215 as a defense. That's what it was, a defense. It didn't make it legal. It only created a defense if you got busted. So right away, I went right into criminal defense, and I was defending cannabis patients who were being wrongfully prosecuted under this new law that there was.
And at that time, how many other cannabis attorneys were there?
Margolin, Bruce Margolin, who was like the original. He like wrote the book. Without Bruce Margolin, there's no Pop Brothers at Law now. And he's like, he must be 70, 80. He's up there now, and he still gets out and about. But there weren't many. There weren't, and we weren't termed cannabis lawyers because that wasn't a thing yet. We were just criminal defense attorneys, right, representing people who were getting fucked.
Right.
And that's what. So I've been dealing with cannabis my entire career, and so then we go through 1996 all the way. We get to 2008, I believe it was 2007 or 2008, when the Senate Bill 420 came out and the Attorney General guidelines, because when Prop 215 came out, it was just for patients, and caregivers, grow for patients. And there was no vehicle for business, for like patient to patient to sell and this and that. And there was nothing, there's no way to do it.
Personal growth if you had a physician's recommendation to grow it. There was
correct.
No business that was able to sell you the flower or the medicine.
Right. At the very beginning, right, it was just for yourself.
Yeah.
Create anything stupid, but there was nothing for that. And so they eventually created Senate Bill 420, which then said that in order to be a business, you had to create a not-for-profit cooperative or collective, not for profit. And then the patients had to be members, and then they could purchase and give donations and money to help the cooperative or collective run and pay its employees and all that kind of shit.
Gotcha.
So that was how the businesses started, and it was much easier. So from 2008 all the way we go to 2019, that's how long the collective cooperative scheme ran. And when we started helping people in 2015, because what happened for us, when we go back to like 2008, 9, 10, I'm doing criminal defense. My brother's doing, he's done workers' compensation employee work for employees' rights for 30 plus years. Also, he's done general business counsel and corporate counseling for 30 years as well. So he has done all the business side of everything. I'm doing all the criminal defense side of everything. And then now cannabis is becoming a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so prior to Prop 64, if you came to us and you wanted to set up a business, it was so easy. We had $20,000. You get us on retainer for 1 year. We set up your cooperative corporation. We give you like the instructions A to Z. You do all this. This is exactly how you operate. When you get raided and busted and hit with felonies, because you will, we're going to be able to go in. You're not going to pay us any money. You're not going to have to pay us $30,000 to represent you on 3 felonies. You're already covered for our whole year for the 20 grand. You get those felonies, you come back. Okay, we file our, if you did everything we said, we file the motion, we go to court, we get the case dismissed, and we get everything back. And we did that time and again for those who did what we said. Of course, we had those who didn't, deviated. Then you're cutting the deal. You might go to jail for a little bit, you might, whatever, but we're cutting deals if you didn't do exactly what we said to follow the law. So
literally, you're saying, sorry to interrupt you, but you're saying, so in 2008, when they're essentially, these businesses were deemed, they were non for profit, right? So
not for profit.
So you basically saw that and worked with your brother and basically set up a playbook for people that wanted to open up a legal cannabis business under those parameters. And then, of course, they would get busted because it was at a federal level or whatever, even at a state.
No, state level.
State level, even a state level.
It was still a felony first. So people would come to me and I'd be like, here, this is how you're going to commit the felony of cultivation, of possession, of transportation. This is how you're going to commit the felony.
Right.
And I tell them, and if you do it this way, it's a built-in defense that they wrote into the law.
It's like the script that you guys talk about today. I mean, not exactly, but in terms of like the formula of how you can navigate through these weird waters when it comes to the regulations of the plant, right? I mean,
in both what you're describing, both that the instance of the business and using the script, doing what we say is preserving all of your rights, remedies, and defenses if you need it in court afterwards. That's what the script is all about. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when they say, the script's not going to work for me. I'm a minority. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And that's when we have to get into explaining what the script is for, and what it's not for, so I can go into, if you want to get into some of that.
Well, I mean, I do. Yeah. And I think to start you off, but probably I think what you're saying is that it's a way to help defend yourself and have, your rights, as opposed to it being a guarantee, like you're not going to be detained or, the cop's not going to bother you, because you can't predict what human beings are going to do. Right. But you're just kind of giving them the formula to defend themselves in a legal way.
Right. Not only defend, but bring an action against the cops as well, right? In case they do something to beat your ass, they do shit. So what happens is we'll get people who, the script, right? Why am I being pulled over? Am I being detained or am I free to go? I'm not discussing my day. I invoked all the 25 words. We'll do it slower later. But we get responses that, well, if I say I'm not discussing my day, the cop is going to rip me out of the car and beat my ass because I'm black or I'm a minority. And what do you know? Because you're an old white Jewish guy, and we'll never understand. I certainly understand. I'm never truly going to understand certain things, but that's not the point. The point is we're trying to help people protect, again, their rights, remedies, and defenses, because you're not getting beat up. You're not getting your ass pulled out of a car because you said, I'm not discussing my day, officer. You're not getting pulled out because you said, I invoke the fifth, because you stood up, because you asserted your rights. That's happening to you because that cop's a jerk off. And maybe he's racist, or maybe he's on a power trip, and he's going to do whatever he's going to do regardless of what you do or say.
Right.
The problem becomes when you argue back, fight back, all those things, you give the cop the ability to say, I was afraid for my life. And time again, we see it, cops getting away with all this horrendous shit because they're able to use that as a crutch. We take that power away from them by doing what we say, the way we say it. And so to really reiterate what it's not for, right? The script and what we're teaching is not to make sure you don't get pulled over. It's not to make sure you don't get a warning from a cop or a traffic ticket, which is really the ultimate goal when you get pulled over, get a warning or a traffic ticket. It's not to ensure that you don't actually get a ticket. It's not to ensure that you don't actually get arrested. It's not to ensure that charges don't get filed against you. And it's not to ensure that that cop doesn't beat your ass. And it can't do anything to stop you from being killed by a cop. And I can't do anything about those things. But if you do what we say, and we've got two unfortunate examples, the Floyd, right, George Floyd, and then the Richard over in Georgia. And in Floyd's case, those cops, they're going to jail.
Yep.
They're not going to be able to say, because he wasn't pulled over. But when you watch it all, as we have, ad nauseum.
Oh, it was horrific. Yeah.
He pretty much sticks to the script and what we say to do, which was, why are you arresting me? What is going on?
Right.
He didn't resist. He didn't do anything.
No, he was
so
life, Yeah.
Right. And so they will not be able to say, I was afraid for my life. That ain't happening here. And so when that family, when that case is going to end, those guys are going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And the earth should blow up if that doesn't happen.
Right.
And then when the family brings their civil case to get the money, because that's how America works. You kill somebody, you do something to somebody else, you get sued, and we get money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have much of a defense in the civil case either. This new case, the newer case, which I hate it, and it was completely wrong. They should fry, and I hope they do, but we've already heard his defense attorney come out. He was afraid for his life. The guy was doing this and doing that and getting the things, and they're making the argument.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to make the argument. And by the same token, in my mind, when I see that, 46 minutes of talking to this guy and all that and all of it, and then they take him down. I mean, I don't blame him for I don't know what he was thinking, of course, but I don't blame him if it's, fuck, these guys are going to kill me just like they killed George Floyd. I better get the fuck out of here.
A natural reaction that you would have. Exactly. Yeah. Anyone would.
They shoot him in the back. Those guys got to fry. But it irritates me that they're able to make that claim, that defense. They're going to be able to say it. Mm-hmm. So that's, really the whole crux of everything we're doing here is to give you a chance, if you get arrested, to show that the cops did something illegal, and you or your family to bring civil action if needed.
Well, I can understand what you're saying, and not through personal experience, but like through friends that I grew up with. So I'm from New Mexico, and I had friends that would be stopped for various violations, whether it be alcohol or other different substances. But anybody, whether they were friends or not, they didn't know what to say or how to handle that situation at all, right? And what's great about what you guys do is that you simplify the message in a way that is really, really easily consumable, and that something that you can remember, right? And that's what I like about it. I think that the simplicity is really what creates some type of brilliance, right? Our iPhones are really simple to use. There's no button on.
Speak for yourself.
or your Samsung. Whatever the smart.
All that electronic shit is not easy for me. I got to figure it out.
Well, yeah, maybe there's a generation.
I want my old flip phone back, okay, with nothing else on it.
Hey, man, that's not a bad idea with a lot of some of the things that are going on the fights on Twitter, to have a flip phone.
Right, bring it back.
I know, but to what I was basically, I love how you guys have just simplified the script, and let's say it, and then we can get on to other things. But go ahead and say it slow so that people.
Yeah, absolutely. So the script is 25 words, and it's, why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained, or am I free to go? And then if you're detained, you say, I invoke the fifth. And then you simply shut the fuck up. And those 25 words, we didn't just pull them out of the air. When we stumbled onto social media and fell ass backwards into all this stuff that happened to us, we saw a void, especially on Instagram with the large cannabis community there, that people needed help. People needed to know their rights, especially cannabis patients who get fucked with for the smell. What's that smell? The coffee smell. And so that's really how we kind of started it. And how are you going to engage with police? We had like 50 words, 40. We really honed it and got it down to these 25 words, and then realized, this just isn't for cannabis patients, even though that was our intention in the beginning. It's for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You might go out and have 2 or 3 drinks. You're not drunk or impaired to drive, but you very well may be over that 0.08 legal limit just because. And, and beyond that, you may not be doing anything, just minding your own business. Cop pulls you over. What the fuck right is it of his to get into your car? None. They have no right knowing what you're doing, where you're going, what's that smell, how many drinks have you had, who died yesterday, all their bullshit. They're supposed to be policing for traffic and safety, and they're not.
And this script applies to non-friendly recreational states as well, right?
All over the United States of America. And we are also being told it works in many countries, absent invoke the fifth, but just shutting the fuck up even works in, but there are some countries where you might get shot, if you do that.
Right.
But we have been told by other, barristers and counsel in other countries that, like the United Kingdom, I talked to a defense attorney in the United Kingdom the other day, and he said, yeah, you have the right to shut the fuck up. There's no Fifth Amendment, but you have the right to not answer questions. Same in Canada.
Right.
There's no fifth, but you have the right to shut the fuck up. So, we're learning that, and it resonates everywhere. And so, here in America, under the Fourth Amendment, we're free from unreasonable governmental intrusion. And cops, there's plenty of great cops, and we don't hate cops at all. A lot of people think, oh, you guys, we don't. And in fact, we get calls and messages from officers all over the country, lieutenants and sergeants that use our videos to teach their cops what we're teaching. And this is, you need to respect people's rights, and this is how you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And shows like Live PD and Cops, which are canceled now. I have a clip of a cop who was on there saying, we're looking for a reason to pull you over, and then we're looking for a way to get in your car. Well, that's not, what is that?
Don't they have like a quota of like certain parking violations or things?
Yeah, they deny that and stuff, but how does the city make money? How does the county make money when they're giving tickets for fines and shit like that? So that certainly exists, but it's not the police's job to raise money. It's their job to police and keep people safe, not look for innocent people who are driving around to see if they might have some roach in their car, and that's what's going on. And the script helps alleviate that. And, more often than not, we get the responses that cops, once they realize your rights, chances are they're going to give you a ticket, let you go, and go on to the next 10 people who are going to blab their mouth and flap their gums and say whatever they want them to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're dealing with. And if we can get that message out there, and people just have to understand that you might have to just shut the fuck up and get arrested. You're not going to talk your way out of it. Shut the fuck up, get arrested, bail out, and then you deal with it. Nobody, and it's not fun. Nobody wants to get arrested, especially if you haven't done anything. Mr. Checkpoint. Are you familiar with Mr. Checkpoint?
So I was actually just going to bring that up, because didn't Killer Mike give you and Mr. Checkpoint a shout out on CNN about police cameras? And I want to ask you about that, but go ahead and make your point, and then I want to ask you a question about that.
Well, I was just going to say, Mr. Checkpoint, we're good friends, and he's been at this for a long time. I think it's 7 years now or so. When he was Santa Monica. He was in Santa Monica one night. He was pulled over. And now this is a guy whose father was an attorney, and he's been doing shit like since he's 13, like bringing companies to small claims court, and it's just a great. You got to interview him. He's a great guy.
I'd love.
And his deal, he was out one night. A cop pulls him over, suspects that he's drunk, and he turns his phone on, puts his phone down, and gets all the audio. He refuses the field sobriety test, which in California you don't have to do. And in the face of the cop saying, you have to do this. You're going to go to jail if you refuse this. And this cop, and we say this all the time, cops lie. They could say whatever they want to scare you and get you to talk. And so this guy lied. He said all sorts of shit. And he stuck to his guns. He didn't say shit. He got arrested and bailed. Yeah, got out the next day. Brought the tape in. His defense attorney used the tape. The case was dismissed. He then sued the Santa Monica Police Department and settled for $75,000.
Wow.
All because he filmed the police. And it wasn't even video, it was audio. And that kicked him off doing his Mr. Checkpoint thing. And, he's huge now. And that's got it. You always got to film the police.
What year was that?
I think it was about 7 years ago.
Okay. Because this is the question I want to ask. So I totally see the value in that because like you said, the police can say whatever they want in the report, right? But is there the first question is, do you think that it may, and this is totally objective question, do you think that it may provoke or make the police feel a little more unsettled, like in a way where you're just kind of putting a phone in their face? Or are there, and the second question is, if so or if not, are there other ways like having a dash cam or like other way to be less intrusive and aggressive? You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, so we've done videos on this on our page. We have tip videos where we recommend, you have your phone up mounted and have it mounted so that if those lights come on, all you got to do is do a little swivel and it's pointing right at the window.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have it in your hand in their face. You cannot interfere with what they're doing when you're filming.
And that's when it gets dicey, right? Whenever, I don't feel like no one as a human being, or most people don't want somebody putting a phone in their face or anything in their face,
Well, you're not doing that to the cop. You're not going to put it in his face.
Yeah.
You're going to, if you're pulled over, you're going to put it, like I said, on your dash, on your up here on your dash.
Yeah.
And so you have that, like what we say, when you get in your car every day, this is the day I might get pulled over. So I'm gonna walk around my car, make sure everything works on my car, because I want to minimize the risk of exposure to getting pulled over.
Right.
Are my tags turned? Are my blinkers all working? Is that and at night, is that light that illuminates your license plate in the rear, is that working? Because people are getting pulled over left and right for that. And then it leads to the drug arrest and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure of those things. Taking your insurance, license, and registration, those 3 documents, putting it right there on your visor. So if the time comes, your hands are on the steering wheel, it's right here. Now you're not reaching for anything anywhere. They can, right? And so I'm ready to be pulled over. And I've done what I call the daily script. Why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke 15. Shut the fuck up. Say it real fast every day a couple times. And when it happens to you, because people call us that follow us for years, fuck, I got pulled over and I got scared and I forgot. And I forgot the script and blah, blah, blah. But if you treat it like multiplication and your times tables and the things you learned as a kid that you had to memorize, so when that happens, it's there.
Yep.
And you got it like clockwork and you're ready to get pulled over. Unfortunately, I wish we didn't need to exist, me and my brother, that we have to teach this to help people preserve their rights to go to jail or maybe get killed. It's fucked. It's really fucked up. But that's really the only way we as citizens can protect our rights and ourselves from unruly law enforcement that's out there. while this police reform is going on.
Well, it's definitely fucked, but I'm glad that there's firms and people like your brother who are able to help people, navigate through these weird laws that have been in place with the hemp plant, and that's really what's the most frustrating thing of the whole deal is for how long the cannabis plant has been listed as a Schedule 1 narcotic. At this point, with
you know who we have to thank for that, right? Harry Anslinger.
Harry Anslinger. No, tell me about that.
Actually, I like to do this when I mention Harry Anslinger. Google him. Look him up. And the next time we talk, we'll talk about this fuck. Harry Anslinger, who created the war on drugs, who created stigmatizing cannabis against foreigners and coming from foreigners. Yeah, that's a little piece of Harry Anslinger.
So, Mark, I got my tin foil hat on because my last guest or previous guest, I had Jay Kitchen on. I don't know if you know who he is from Uptown Lab Grow or Uptown Grow Lab. But anyway, he recommended this book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
That is Jack Hare's book, which is also a movie that's very good as well.
Okay, yes. So I'm on page 5. So I just started it. So I'll probably hear about this Harry Anslinger.
You will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Topic for another day. I get too pissed off when I think about that name also.
Yeah. So I do too. So related to it, to be less pissed off though, let's talk about so we know that we have a huge incarceration problem in this country, right? There's a lot of people that are locked up. And
yep.
I have thrown some facts out here. I don't know the exact source, but I was doing some Googling earlier. In 2018, police officers made about 663,000 arrests for marijuana-related offenses in 50 states, including D.C., which amounted to 40% of the 1.6 million total drug arrests in the U.S. that year. Whoa, right? 40%. And 90% were possession and 8% was sale or manufacturing. When can this stop? When can we understand that there is no waste to the hemp plant?
I'll tell you. I know exactly when.
Tell me.
It's when all the cannabis users who are watching this, particularly the lazy ones, who sit on their ass and don't and bitch and moan and don't get involved and get out and register and vote and stop. My vote don't count. No, it counts. You got to start at the local level. There are cities in California that there's 482 cities in California. Right now, I think 92 or 93 of them are currently accepting some form of cannabis applications for permitting. Only 93 out of 482. And we're talking about a state that overwhelmingly passed Prop 64 for adult use. What the fuck is happening in these cities where they voted?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it makes sense because the people that are making the decisions that got voted in are not listening to the will of the people. And those same people have to go in and say, we're going to vote you out.
And they're
voted you in. Yeah. Here's the petition. That's what people can do. That's what needs to happen because the people making the decisions are not reflecting the will of the constituents. You got to get those dinosaurs out.
And is it solely those cities or those counties that are not allowing recreational THC in California? Or is it solely because of just that it's a gateway drug and blah blah, same bullshit? Or
it's who knows? I mean, it's like crime's going to be, or when it's already proven that when legal places for cannabis pop up, crime goes down because they're so heavily guarded with security and crime goes down.
Well, not to mention you don't have to go to that sketchy guy's, alley to pick up, an eighth of weed when you could just go to a local dispensary that's legal and.
Right. And so what's happening in California is because all the, the cities aren't opened up in mass. You have limited places where people can go. So you go over here, and then they're charging an arm and a leg for the property that you got to get. It's like, well, where else are you going to go? We're going to charge this. We're going to charge 5 times the value of what the property really is, because it's cannabis, and the taxes and everything. It's, the black market in California is going crazy. It's probably the best it's fucking been in 15 years, because the way they're doing the legal market is dry. It's just driving it over there, because people can't pay, or they don't want to pay that much. And the shops and the license plate have to charge what they charge, because they got to pay the taxes and everything else.
What is it, like 37% right now?
Well, no. So when you talk about everything, when you talk about, your local tax, your state tax, and then when you talk about all the different the taxes on the grower, the cultivation tax, and then the distributor, all the different shit, and then they have to contend with tax code 480E federal, which says a cannabis business cannot write off normal business deductions. Like if a cannabis company has a secretary they pay 50 grand a year to,
Right,
you can't write that off. That's not a write-off.
that's crazy.
So you got to deal with, so effectively you're paying 45% in taxes, almost, a cannabis business in California.
Is it like that across? I mean, it obviously varies from state to state, right? Is that how? I mean, it's not like that in, say, Colorado or Nevada.
It's pretty close. There are some that have done it a little better. I mean, it's fucked all over.
Yeah.
They took the industry, which they saw, which we know what it did on the black market, and then they put it in an industry and they're treating it like, okay, it's going to sell like it's sold on the black market, but oh wait, now we got to pay for testing, we got to pay for all this stuff, right? The businesses. So it ain't only the black market at all,
No.
in terms of where the dollars are going. So, I mean, we've been screaming and yelling about, lowering taxes and just the whole process to get started. You need property, purchase or lease. If you don't have property, you're done. We had plenty of clients, mom and pop places that were operating their cooperatives out of their home legally, like home business. You can run a business out of your home, but not a cannabis business, not any type of cannabis business.
Right.
Which I don't. I mean, I could certainly understand, the things that need to be tested, the growing, the manufacturing and stuff like that. But I don't know, you want to have a small little delivery out of your house? What's the problem?
It's a problem.
But
yeah,
it's a problem. So,
well, outside of even taxation, other guests that I've had on have talked about the issues and challenges when it comes to banking, right? Like,
yeah.
A lot of banks won't work with you, or they'll cut you off as you're doing business with them, and you have to switch banks, and it's just a pain. Is it still like that? Is it still pretty? Yeah.
There are banks. Me and my brother have been very fortunate, particularly with who we are and what we do. But we haven't had a problem with our bank. But I know plenty of other cannabis attorneys who are having their accounts shut down because they represent cannabis businesses. It's fucking ridiculous. So I don't know. There's a couple of bills moving through Congress, but they get through the House, and like I say, everything that passes through the House goes to the Senate to die. Right? The Republican Senate to die. And whether or not we're going to see some major banking reform, I don't know. I mean, I'm so I don't know, over it. People ask me, when do I think it's going to be federally legal? Never.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
Do you think that, I mean, with the 2018 Farm Bill being passed and the ability for farmers to grow massive amounts of hemp, listeners that don't know, hemp is just considered 0.3 or 0.3 or less THC.
0.3% THC or less, correct.
Less, yeah. So doesn't that give you some hope? I mean, in terms of learning more about the plant and
Nope.
no?
I'll tell you why. I hate to be so this way, but I'm sorry. You know, when you say hemp is legal, but we just talked about it earlier. People are getting arrested and then having to prove this is just fucking hemp, and they're going to jail for 2 or 3 weeks and then getting out, and and then depending on what state, and then depending on what county you're in that state, you may not be able to grow hemp. There are counties in California that don't allow it. So it's just because the farm bill said what it said, which that was great. I mean, I'm not going to knock that. I'm glad that's out there. But when's the rest of the fucking country and in law enforcement going to catch up? And like, you're busting people who have, hey, you don't even know the difference. You might see a bag. How do you even know it's hemp or cannabis?
Well, that's the thing with hemp. You have to have it federally. You have to have it tested and certified by a USDA certified lab.
Yeah. Yep. And when those documents are showed to the police, oh, great. Oh, hey, we'll take you and everything with us.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck.
Well, and sometimes in some cases, like the guy in Oregon, the poor guy, he lost all of his crops, but I don't even think they checked before. Like you said, they couldn't tell the difference because it smelled the same. So they burned the crop, and he lost on all that harvest. And then he showed them the DEA, DEA certified, paperwork after that showed that the levels were okay. So to your point, yeah, there is some catch up to do when it comes to various states. In Texas, I think that they've done a pretty good job. I mean, like they've submitted their state plan. I don't believe that there's any like cities or counties that restrict it. They may vote on it, of course, within the city council and whatnot if they do so. But I haven't heard of many backlash just yet, because it seems like the farmers are really optimistic about the opportunity that hemp presents, not only on the consumable side and the medicinal side, but on the non-consumable side when it comes to like, building shit, like making their cars or like hemp, hemp fiber and the herd and the stock. It's amazing what it can do,
Yeah, it can make cars. It can save the world. It can save the world. I believe that. Hemp, absolutely.
I agree, man. So with that, I did see that you guys were on the B Reels Hotbox show. That's pretty cool. Tell me about that experience.
Oh, absolutely. So
yeah,
so we go back. Actually, so it's a good question. Good story. So January 22nd, 2015, my nephew, my brother's kid, who is known as J Cures of West Coast Cure, which is a huge brand out here in California that my nephews run. And let me give you a little background there, actually. My nephew, he's 30, 31 or 32 now.
He's my age.
There you go. And when he was, 18, going back even 13, 14, 15, he had a penchant for cannabis. And as a matter of fact, my brother was going through a nasty divorce, 4 kids. He was the oldest, and he was seeing a therapist, and they wanted to put him on like some sort of medication for like Ritalin or whatever the fuck they want to give kids.
Right.
My brother's like, no fucking way. He's not taking any pill. They went home that night, took him in the backyard. And he goes, if you want to relax, smoke this. Smoke this with me. And that's what he did. Instead of giving him other pills, he got him a physician's recommendation. Because you can get, as a parent, you can get it for your kid in California with the doctor's recommendation and your consent. We didn't know it was going to create a monster. And as time would go on, he had a green thumb for it. And he saw the medicinal value. He was very compassionate and passionate and wanted to grow and wanted to do the caregiver thing. And he did. And so he started growing for patients. We made sure he was doing it properly. And that's really, once he started wanting to turn it into that business, that's where we were like, okay, well, you're going to be committing felonies. So this is what you got to do so I can protect you if something happens. And so over a 7-year period, he picked up 5-6 felonies, 3 different cases. And each one we got dismissed. We got everything back. And each time we didn't get everything back because he was doing everything right. I'm sorry. We got everything back because he was doing everything right, but we didn't get the case dismissed. We didn't have to rely on that defense that he was doing everything right because we never had to get to it because we always proved that the cops did illegal shit when they searched his house or his car or whatever it was. So, of course, growing up under us, we beat into him. Shut the fuck up. Because my whole career, I've been telling people to shut the fuck up. Right. We didn't have those exact 25 words, but this is what we were telling people. You don't talk to those fucking guys. And so when he caught this case and I see a police report that says he consented to a search, I'm like, you fucking lying cop.
Yeah.
Let's see I want to hear it, right? Because there's audio. The whole thing was audio video. And so you hear everything. And they get him out. And he even gave our card to the cop, which on the back says, I don't consent to a search.
Oh,
it has the 25 word. And she gets him out of the car and sits him on the curb. Now we can't see him on the video. He's outside the video, but we can hear audio. And then all of a sudden, the audio goes, eh. And then she comes back and puts her gloves on and starts searching. And so in her police report, it says when she sat him on the curb, that's where he suddenly gave consent. After saying, I don't consent, and giving her a card that says, I don't consent, she said, he suddenly consented, but we can't hear it because the audio goes out.
Of course.
So I cross-examined her very well, and the judge ultimately felt that there was no consent. So that's really why we really became proficient at this for cannabis was for my nephew, my brother's kid. And then he was the one, you guys got to go on Instagram and, you got to, and this is like what, 2012.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess Instagram maybe just started or whatever. And we're like, we looked at it, fucking Instagram, tits and drugs and I don't even think I'm on Facebook. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I'm good. I don't need that. My brother, the same. He's barely on Facebook himself. When it comes to social media. So, but he did. He was on like every once in a while. Like, yeah, you guys got to get on social media, or you guys got to do Instagram. So then now we fast forward to. Did I lose you, Kevin?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Wow, you looked like you were frozen.
Listening, man. I'm listening.
That was good. So now we fast forward to January 22nd, 2015. And he comes into our office that morning and he says, hey, I have some friends who are looking to interview attorneys that will talk about Prop 64, because this was all getting ready to change, right, in California from 2016. And but there's a show that's on the internet, but they smoke on it, and they can't find any attorneys who'll come on and smoke and talk about the law. And I told them my uncle and my dad would do it.
So he volunteered you without getting your approval.
Right. And my brother goes, wait a minute. And I went, well, let's go. Where is it? What is it? Because that's, we're very different, right? Me and my brother.
Yeah.
So it turned out it was one of his friends was Be Real and Be Real TV. And so at that point.
And for those who don't know who Be Real is, he's the singer from Cypress Hill, the band, obviously, from the 90s. So
Insane in the Membrane. So I grew up in the 80s. I grew up with Cypress Hill. We're about the same age probably or whatever. And so I knew who Be Real was. And I was like, Be Real TV. Oh, he's got a TV show or what? No, it's on the internet. And it's a show called Getting High with Adam. at a mill and they ask questions and get high. And they usually have hip hop stars, but they're looking for attorneys to talk because everybody smokes cannabis.
Yeah.
Right? All those, right? Everybody smokes. So I'm like, well, fuck, let's do it.
Why not?
My brother's like, you know, we're going to be smoking. People are going to see it. What about the California State Bar? I go, look, we have our physician's recommendation in California. We're allowed to. We're going to be at a private place, a private studio. They're allowed. We're good. You can smoke in a private place. And so, okay, we'll do it. And then we said, well, when? And he said, well, now. We got to go now. We got to go today.
Oh, man. It was a split decision. But you were already on the up and up for your social media at the time, right?
No. 2015, there was, in 2013 or 14, me and my brother were out in the parking lot smoking like we do. And we've always maintained separate offices. My brother, law office is Craig Wasserman. I'm law office is Marc Wasserman. I do criminal defense. He does business stuff. You know, we're in the same suite and everything, but we always maintained our separate practices. And we would share cases every once in a while or work together or whatever. But we were never any kind of partnership or entity together in terms of business. And so we were smoking one day in the parking lot, and I was getting a lot of cannabis clients. And I was saying, you know, it's fine. We're brothers. We smoke pot. We're attorneys at law, pot brothers at law. It's kind of funny. I'm going to make cards and give them to my pot clients, pot brothers at law. It's like, oh, wow. And give them to my pot clients.
Marketing,
which I did.
Branding. Yeah.
And well, I didn't even think of it. No, it wasn't even branding at that point. It was a joke.
Whoa.
Literally, I didn't think of it any more than I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And I put it on my cards just to, hey, we're the pot brothers at law, you know? And that was it. And so we go up to the Be Real studios and we go on the show and we smoke joints, bongs, dabs, everything. And we were there, I don't know how long, like 2 hours taking live questions. It's the most calls they had ever gotten, they said, or whatever. And just talking about the laws and just all of it. And then we finished and we took some pictures with B and other people there. And my nephew again goes, you guys got to create an Instagram account. Take some pictures here, post it, and blah, blah, blah. So my brother gets on Instagram and puts POT space, brothers space, at space law. And I say that way for a reason, because it's wreaked fucking havoc on my life ever since. So at the end of the interview, I'll do it right now. At the end of the interview, where can you find us? Pot Brothers at Law. That's POT underscore brothers underscore at underscore law. Because I have to say that or else people won't go to the right place. We have a backup account. And he didn't know that because he didn't know shit about social media or any of it.
Right.
That when you push the space bar, it leaves that underscore.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to use that if that account's taken.
Right.
Hence, in my case, connect. Yeah, it has an underscore because
right.
So get it, man.
So he created that. We took some pictures there, and then it became incumbent upon me, because, like I said, he didn't know anything about social media. You know, I was using Facebook for, like, you know, since it started, to promote my law practice and my films and stuff. I had a friend.
You got to point him my way. If he doesn't know social media, man, I can help him.
Now 5 years later, he still doesn't have to, because I do everything.
You do it,
but he's learned.
You're the master. Yeah. So tell me. So I don't mean to interrupt. So tell me how it progressed. So after.
So we do this.
You said he made the account, and then what? And then what happened?
We post a picture of Be Real, and, you know, I start looking at Instagram and, like, figure, what is Instagram? What are we going to do with this? How can we maybe get a few new clients and spread some, you know, teach people something or whatever? What is this? And so I start from probably like 3 days in a row, 12, 15 hours a day, I was on Instagram. looking at accounts, looking at numbers, reading shit, Googling how do you get followers, whatever, right? And I certainly saw the cannabis community and the cannabis culture like really deep on Instagram, showing buds and tits and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any attorneys. I didn't see anything like that. I didn't see anything really educational in nature. And I thought, well, we could post some legal shit. And then at that time, they had 15-second videos. What the fuck are we going to do in 15 seconds while people they're smoking and, whatever.
Dabbing.
And so,
yeah.
Right. They're doing all sorts of that stuff, but what are we going to do? And so we came up with in the beginning, okay, we'll do a series of 15-second tips on what to do when you get pulled over and how you shouldn't talk to the cops and that. So if you go back to the beginning of our page, you'll see, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me just get rid of that.
No worries.
All right. Okay. So, I'm sorry.
You were posting 15-second videos.
Oh yeah, the 15-second videos. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do in 15 seconds? So, a series of how to get pulled. It was like I don't know, 6 videos or 5 or 15-second videos on the lights come on, just through the whole thing getting pulled over. So when we were doing it, it was very funny because we were both talking back there. I was saying stuff, he was saying stuff. And then my nieces, 2 of my nieces, my brother's kids were out, watching us. And then one of my nieces said to her dad, "Dad, just let Uncle Mark talk. You just smoke." I'm in front of the camera. I've done it my whole life. I have a theatrical background, and
so funny about it. That's what's so funny about it. Yeah, I can't believe you saw that. Oh my gosh.
And when she said that, and so we're sitting, and so that's how it started. He was behind me. He's smoking, and then it became like, okay, this is more like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah. And your brother's very articulate, man, because I saw the Be Real shit, and he's very smart. So of course,
yeah, Kevin Smith, yeah, he absolutely
just smoked.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And so, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do all the talking. You're gonna smoke. You'll say a few words every once in a while because when my big brother talks, you can fucking listen, type of thing. And so once we started. And after about, I don't know, I want to say like 4 weeks, we had 5,000 followers. And so the only thing I was like, wow, that's a lot. But I wasn't quite sure. I was like, well, these guys have millions and we have 5,000. But then I was like, it took me 8 years to get 5,000 friends on Facebook. And in 3 weeks, we got 5,000 friends on Instagram. And so I start learning and reading more, and I'm looking at bigger pages. Go ahead.
Let me stop you right there because I know this world. So when you were doing that and doing those posts, you were not – I would imagine you weren't running ads because they don't allow you to do anything related to cannabis on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook owns Instagram. So
yeah, we weren't running ads. No.
It was all organic. It was all organic likes and whatnot. People were just gravitating to this content. Were you using hashtags? Were you reaching, or was that even a thing? I can't even remember in 2000.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, it was. So with my Facebook, I have a very good friend who a year before Facebook started, he said, "Mark, this thing's coming out. It's going to be called Facebook. And you need to get on it. You're going to be able to advertise for free for your law office and our movies." We did movies together and, whatever. And then I said, okay. And so I got on Facebook when it started, and so that was the only thing. I used Facebook solely for advertising and getting clients. And, I connected with people and stuff like that, but that was the prime reason most people were on. I want to reconnect with all these people from my past or whatever, but I was using it as a marketing tool back then because it was free. Right. And I didn't like paying fucking thousands of dollars to newspapers for ads and all that other shit.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
kind of thinking the same thing here, but then, you know, things are way different, obviously, with what's going on in Instagram and then the videos and all that crap. And when we were trying to figure out what to really say, and at the same time, how do we grow this? How, and I see all the large followers, they're barely following anybody. Whatever that, you know, and I see that, right? And then you got to follow people so they follow you. You know, follow you back. And so in the very beginning there, I was fucking. It was, my wife was going crazy because I had my phone. No matter what I was doing, I was following. And then after I was following over 10,000 whatevers, and then we had about 11,000. I started unfollowing everybody because I read that you can't be following.
There's too much.
And so,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I said because there's too much noise at that point. You really have to be diligent about what you're consuming, and when you have too many people that you're following, a lot of it could be noise. Yeah.
And so, and I was just doing based on the research that I had done. This was what it was having me do, and so, and then it became figuring out, you know, how many posts a day and what time of day. And I was doing all these little analytics myself and just trying to whatever, and then blah, blah, whatever, while sticking to these, I don't know, caricatures of ourselves. Like, we are who we are, you know? And so, but putting it out there and being like, you know, like I say, with Jay and Silent Bob, he's back there just smoking and, you know, just kind of extending that a little. Right. And then what you see how I'm dressed, right? And in our lives, I go to court much more than my brother. I'm more flashy as it is anyway. And so I'm investing stuff more. My brother in the beginning was in shirt, tie, hat, and the shirt and whatever, and his sunglasses. And that's how he dresses to work. That's how we dress. And so people started commenting on our attire. And then one time I did it and somebody was like, well, where's your vest and tie? And so it became almost a trademark
thing. Yeah.
Oh, this is when I go places, when I go out, this is, and my wife we would before all this started, God bless my wife, we would go out once or twice a month and she'd dress me up however you buy this thing and get me all dressed up like this or whatever. And so this started happening. I'm like, babe, I need another outfit for this thing I'm going to, because I gotta do this. And then I gotta do. So she's become my stylist now, and the outfits are over 5 years are endless. But it just became all part of just the natural growing, the organic way we were growing. And so we eventually, I don't know, I think maybe 3 months in or so or something, I don't know when it was, that we actually started with the script and the 25 words. But it was somewhere in there in the beginning. And then we just started just doing tips every day, 15 seconds. You watch those 15-second ones, man, I get a lot of money, and I go for get a lot of information in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And then eventually it went to a minute.
Yep.
And then they'd have IGTV.
Yep.
And then all that. And so, and then as we were organically growing, my brother learned a lesson very quickly. My son, my nephew, everybody knows him. And so Wiz Khalifa is a friend of his. And my brother said to him one day, just have Wiz shout us out. We'll get like thousands of followers. And he goes, Dad, no, you don't. People pay like 10,000, like a lot of money for other IGs to shout out. It doesn't work like that, Dad.
Yeah.
It's organic, And I even knew that. I was like, why'd you ask him that? It said, And then there's a singer, artist, B.O.B.
Yep, of course. Yeah. Airplanes.
He was one of the first famous artists to shout us out and repost one of our things.
Wow.
So that happened. And then that started happening a little more and more. And so, and then we get picked up to be on Cannabis Talk 101, the FM radio talk show, which is now on iHeartRadio. And during that time, from 2015 to December 25th, 2018, we amassed 119,000 followers.
Wow.
Right? Which is good, which is a lot in comparison to all the other numbers I saw. And I know that exact date because and so I'll say this. So that was our Instagram. I put us up on every social media platform out there, whether it's LinkedIn and, you know, Facebook. Pop Brothers at Law had this over here, just to have a presence everywhere. I wasn't managing them or anything, but they were just, I had Twitter and all that. So Facebook in particular, our Facebook Pop Brothers at Law page on December 25th morning, 2018, our Facebook page had about, I don't know, 177 followers. We have 100, and then our mother loads over on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have my notifications set everywhere because it just takes one person. Hey, my brother got arrested last night, and it could be on Twitter, it could be so I'm set up to get all notifications. The Facebook one, I had it just go ding, and it would go off maybe once every 2 weeks. So December, we're on vacation, we're out for Christmas, I'm on the balcony smoking, and my phone goes ding, 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 and then it doesn't stop. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with my phone? I think it's stuck, it's broken, and so I turn it off, I turn it on. These Facebook notifications just aren't stopping.
Whoa, you're blowing up. You're blowing the internet up.
Something's right. I'm like, what? And so I get on my computer. Now I'm trying to trace it out and see what's going on. And so I get to this Facebook page called Respect My Region, which was like a political, not real huge page, but some kind of political page that I had never heard of that reposted ours. And then Roger Stone, you know who Roger Stone is?
Yeah, I do.
He reposted it and said, these should be my attorneys.
No shit. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Whether he remembers or not, 2 years before that, we interviewed him in Boston at the CWCB Expo with Cannabis Talk 101. But he reposted that, said, these should be my attorneys, which is hilarious because he never shuts the fuck up. And that
Are we talking the same Roger Stone? I'm gonna look him up because I'm thinking
the political strategist.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't know that he was a cannabis activist.
He came out when he was, he got Trump elected.
Yes.
He got Nixon elected. He got Trump. He got them all elected.
I know his all background. Yeah.
After it all happened, he was going to cannabis expos like the one we were at, and I'm telling him to leave it to the states and let states do it. And he was on a big thing about that.
Yeah.
So, so then that repost from him, that then got reposted by P. Diddy and Snoop and D.L. Hughley and
holy shit.
And then we get a call from Michael Rappaport. He wants us on his podcast, and just that, and the video itself, that one video, which was a Shut the Fuck Up Friday video, where we explain how 3 people were caught in a raid at an illegal shop. 2 of them said, I didn't volunteer here. And one of them follows us and shut the fuck up, and we got his case dismissed. The other 2 who diamond volunteered, they got busted because they admitted they worked there. So that was the crux of that particular video. I don't even know. So when that was, we're going on almost 2 years now since that. year and a half. And within like 6 or 7 months, that video across all of social media. And I was learning about like what Barstool Sports and World Star and all these other big, huge platforms that were playing it, and Reddit, it trended on and all this stuff. 400 million views. Whoa. When I stopped counting.
Whoa.
Because I was like, I don't even know where it's at. And then people are seeing it, and you go to bars, well, when you used to go to bars, and they had the videos up, and they, whatever dedicated channels they had, it would be popping up there.
Yeah.
And then Ridiculousness called us, and they wanted to license to use the video. And I don't really watch that show, but I know that they use videos and make fun of everybody.
That's Rob Dyrdek, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob Dyrdek.
And me and my brother were like, well, no, you're not going to make fun of, we're not going to let you make fun of us. They're like, no, we don't, it's not going to be used that way. I go, oh, well, how's it going to be used? Oh, well, we can't show you the script. Oh, well, then you can't use our clip.
Yep.
And that was it, right? And then at the same time, Tosh.0's producer called us. They wanted to interview us and have us come on the Tosh show. And he does the same thing to people. And so we were like, we might be funny, but we're spreading a very important message, and we're not going to be made fun of.
Right.
In that way.
Right.
And they said the same thing. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to and they kind of, well, send the script. No, we can't show you this. Well, we're not going to do it. And then, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after that, both of them contacted us, and we're like, it was really eerie because it was almost the same. Like, don't show this to anybody. We never do this, but this is what we want to do. And we looked at both and we're like, this is fucking great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And so the video played on Ridiculousness with Penn Jillette was the guest. And it was great because Penn Jillette and Rob, they're both saying, shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up Friday, like 5 times each, all of which we have trademarked, of course.
Of course. Even the hashtag I noticed is trademarked.
Yeah, we have hashtag STFU trademark, Pop Brothers at Law trademark, the whole script is trademarked. Shut the fuck up Friday, the Shut the Fuck Up Friday jingle.
Yeah.
We're attorneys, we're going to protect everything.
Of course. Well, you know what it sounds like, Mark, is that what you did starting out in life, like, first off, you're a natural marketer. Coming like a marketer, as a marketer myself, you're just a natural at it in terms of, you did your research, you kind of understood how the platforms worked. You trial and errored, different types of content to see what worked and what didn't. And
you just triggered something that I'd like to touch on, that because in the beginning you mentioned you didn't just get here. There's a lot of hard work and stuff. And when we started after that Be Real thing, and we didn't even get to the smoke box yet, but we'll get back to that. But that's how we started at the Be Real Studios, and it was literally almost 5 years to the day that we actually shot the smoke box. And we were always, me and my brother was like, when we got to do that? When do we? They'll ask us. He kept, we should call. It'll happen. It'll eventually happen.
5 years after your nephew first brought it up is when you ended up doing that smoke box with Be Real?
Pretty close, because we shot that in November 2019.
Yeah. Okay.
And they held it to release on 4/20/2020.
And I noticed that because I was like, that's weird when I looked at it, because I thought COVID, Like I thought.
We shot that last year, and filmed it. But when we came out in 2015 and started getting big on social media, we started getting hit up by High Times and all the hey, we'll give you a booth at these events, and these booths could be like 10, 15, 20 grand at these events and stuff. We'll give you, just come and we'll give you a booth. Okay. And so my brother's like, the fuck are we going to do with a booth? And what do we do? What are we going to do? And I go, I got it. Because I spent 10 years going to film festivals across the nation, pushing my films where we'd have a booth, and you have a booth at these things and you set it up and you're selling your films.
Right.
Or any convention for that matter. You go to any convention, there's a booth and they're selling their shit, promoting their shit.
Exactly.
And so like it's just like that. So I'm gonna get a booth. We have our tips. I got a computer where I put our tips on a loop running, and we got a banner. I set it all up, and we're selling ourselves. Here's our cards, passing out cards, and we're teaching you to shut the fuck up. And then it became, here's a 10 by 10. Here's a 100 by 100 space. Come with your whole show, and come. And then it became, here, we're gonna pay you some money to come speak and appear. And so I had a big tub box, plastic box that I wheeled out 6 a.m. We went to, for like 2.5 solid years, we did all the events, all of them.
Damn.
Secret Sesh, Abracadabs, Tie, the big ones, the little ones. We were out there, and with the intention of passing out our cards with the script on it and teaching people this shit. And then it evolved into us doing that on stage. And then, now we get flown all across the country to go do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the grind in the beginning was a good solid 2 years of me. I set up the booth. I was out there, and it was right in the mud, in the whatever, setting everything up. So my brother could stroll in 2-3 hours later and come sit there and be my big brother and, do what he does.
Right.
Which was, we do. I do what I do. He does what he does. We're brothers, and it's worked apparently.
Yeah, it's been working out so far for sure. Yeah. And just like anything, if you're going to build something great, that's going to with hold time, and be long lasting, it's going to take that grind and that long-term effort, that focus, and I was saying,
and we didn't even know. We didn't even have a clue that any of this was going to happen when we started doing this. Even going to it was when we go into the events in the beginning, after we had maybe 8,000 followers, and people were like coming up to us like it was Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like oh my God, you guys. And then now we go to the store and we go out and it's we get it everywhere, and it's great. It's gratifying when people. What I hear the most is, "You're the shut the fuck up guy," and that's we're making. We unwittingly started something that is now is so important and so relevant with everything going on with police and its reform and dealing with police. And as we were starting, that's really, if you go back to 2015, I mean, the horrendous shit was happening, but it really started as we started getting more popular. We're seeing the rise in all this horrible shit with the cops, and getting the messages that we do on a daily basis from people who use the script and tell us, it saved my life. It saved my life. And maybe they had pounds in the back, or maybe they felt like they wouldn't have got out of the situation alive for whatever reason. And we get it from all over the country, deep south to, over here, everywhere.
Yeah.
So that is very gratifying. And again, something that we just organic. And when you mention organic, we recently had somebody do one of these analysis thingies on our Instagram account. And they said we have 458,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And it irritates me when I go live, because 50, 60 people and we get people who have the notifications set. And then the next day, hey, I saw you went live. I didn't get my notification, and I have it set. And so whatever, shadow ban. I don't, it is whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't bother myself with it, because whatever. And we met somebody they did, what did they call it? A deep dive? I don't know what the fuck is that. And they were looking into the numbers, and they said, because they were like, well, maybe you have a lot of bots. And I go, we never bought any. We never bought one like, or we never bought anything. And then they look at it and they're like, we have 0.02% bots that somehow got into following us or whatever, which is like nothing.
Right.
Minuscule.
Right.
And so, and so that's the reason if you've been watching us lately, we're now on Twitch. We have we do our shows on Twitch TV, which is the streaming app and website that gamers use. But within like the last, I don't know, I guess year or so, talk shows and podcasts have been jumping on it. And so we decided, and as I say, we made the switch to Twitch because we live, uncensored, uncut. We don't get shadow banned. You follow us on Twitch, you're going to get the notification. You come watch us, you're never going to miss it. Facebook, we could get suspended at any moment from Facebook, and we've been shut down by Instagram twice. And so we've made this switch to Twitch where we're now doing live shows almost every day. And it's interactive with the audience, asking questions. Sometimes we tell court stories. So it just depends. Certain topics we'll have guests on and interviews. So bringing all of our live stuff is going to be on Twitch. The other social media platforms are better for the posts and the information and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it is such a challenge in the industry right now when it comes to the shadow banning, man. Like the assessment that person gave you, that it could be bots or it could be that what was the other thing he said? Bots or
yeah, that's all he said.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a huge problem in social media also, is that even if you're not buying followers, there are a lot of just fake accounts out there that people use. But man, like the censorship is just one thing that really scares me on social media. And it's not giving, see, the point of podcast is really, like I said earlier, to educate and inform people about the cannabis plant from different disciplines. Like in your case, the legal aspect. We want to talk about the health issues and concerns and the benefits, of course. All that kind of stuff. And regulations. And so with all these guests on, I'm just hoping that this content gets out. And I appreciate having people like you on who have such a big influence.
Absolutely.
To allow me to fulfill that mission, because we just need to, like I said, get past the stigma. You know what I mean? It's been around for too long, and there's so many uses of the plant that are so beneficial to our existence, not only to our existence, but to the earth. Even the CO2 emissions and how much the hemp plant takes in when it comes to CO2, which is great. Yeah. So, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I really have enjoyed it. Next time I hope that your brother can be on.
Yeah.
And maybe you can introduce me to your nephew one day, because it sounds like he's pretty well connected. So you could give
absolutely
that or something.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it, letting us come on and spread our message even further. Remind everybody that you can follow us on twitch.tv/PopBrothersAtLaw, and Cannabis Talk 101 is also on Twitch. We're going to be doing lots of live shows, getting educated and medicated. And then, of course, you can follow us on Pop Brothers at Law, Instagram, POT_brothers_at_law. And please remember your rights. Remember, in the United States of America, you have the constitutional right to shut the fuck up, which means be polite, be calm, use these 25 words. Why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth. Then you shut the fuck up and let there only be one ego at a traffic stop. Let it be the cop. There's only room for one ego at a traffic stop. And with that, I think that's all I have to say. Unless, but see, this is the part where I miss my brother, because his reaction would be this. I have something that I perform about the script and for the script that I've done on stage at many of these events and concerts for artists. I've opened for them. It's a slam poem called "Am I Being Detained or Am I Free to Go?" And I'd be happy if you got a About 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
Do it. Go ahead, man. The floor is yours. Take your time.
So my brother's just sick. And so it's funny because my brother is so sick of this. And when the pandemic hit, this is the reason he's sick of it. We started going, well, I started going live a lot more. We're home, people are home, connecting more, and people who know about it were requesting it. And they were like, do that slam poem. And so I started doing it. And I did a couple days. And then over the last like week and a half, every time I get on, I'm getting asked to do it. It's almost happening like every day. And last week I said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm only doing it on Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to talk about. On Shut the Fuck Up Fridays, every Friday at noon, Pacific Daylight Time on Instagram, we do the script challenge. And this is actually where the room might get up to 200 people instead of just 50 or 60, because I've been doing it now for, I guess, 5 weeks, where you get in, we go Instagram Live. We have about 10 sponsors, and one of them, Top Tree, gives away $100 cash. Then we have other prizes and shit. And you come on, I bring you on live with me. I'm the cop, and I pull you over, and I run down, and you do the script. And if you do it right, perfectly all the way through, in order, the way we teach it, you win a prize. The moment you fuck up anything, you're out. I kick you out live, and you're gone. So I do that every Friday at noon, the script challenge. And so before or after that show's over, I'll do the poem. But I'm not doing it upon request anymore because I've done it so much. But for interviews and stuff, I do not mind getting it out there.
I want to hear it. Let's hear the poem, the slam poem.
All right. Let me, okay, so
Wasserman.
I got to prepare properly. If you just give me one moment.
Take your time.
I have to take a dab.
Take your time.
And we got.
Do a nice dab.
All right. Let me get my Instagram phone.
How are we doing on your live?
I had my Instagram phone faced at you, at us. So they were watching that. Now we'll give them this. All right. Even though we're shadow banned.
How are
okay.
we doing on being live?
All right. Let me take a dab.
I don't think you tagged me in the live.
Oh, you know what? I'm so stupid. I should have brought you in on my live. What a dummy. I didn't even think about that.
No.
Yeah. Next time.
Next time.
All right. Let me heat this up. I like my dabs a little bit on the hotter side. Sometimes. All right.
I've done a dab, but I'm not too well versed in it just yet, you know?
Well, it's just pure concentrated THC. A little dab in a joint. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
This is, am I being detained or am I free to go? A slam poem by the Pop Brothers at Law. All right. Am I being detained or am I free to go? This is what to say. My lawyer tells me so. The cops are out there doing a job. Sometimes they must contain a mob, a thankless job that saves many lives. At their home are worried children, husbands, and wives. But does that give them the right to stomp on my rights? So we are here for you, the cannabis community, to fight, to let you know it's okay to just shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. You start with, I'm not discussing my day, end with, I invoke the fifth. These ain't suggestions. These are words to live by, to memorize. See, it's not about the size of that cop's gun, because they want you to run. So they can pull that macho gun and shoot you for fleeing the scene. Some cops are just plain mean. We must shut it off, shut it down, those feelings of anger that instantly come around when that cop has to show his power and his might without cause, without reason, and we know they're not right. We must remain calm. Keep the devil sleeping on the left shoulder. We must be cold, even colder. Ice must flow through your veins to shut that heat. The blood that rushed your brain straight from your feet when that cop disrespected you, cause you wouldn't tell him what that smell was? And he accuses you of a pot DUI because he absolutely knows That's your buzz. But see, they can't tell and they don't know, only if you tell them so. Oh, officer, I smoked a joint a few hours ago. Officer, here's my medical record. Officer, I'm a marijuana patient. We live in America. Prohibition still exists. That cop's going to do whatever he's going to do. 50-50, he arrests you. Give us a chance to represent you with a defense that's blazing. Let us show you in court we're amazing, but we can only do that if you listen to our tips. Now, let me see you move your lips. You know the drill. When the cops ask questions, we say, I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth, and then you shut the fuck up. It's all about what you say and what you do. We have given you the script. We are telling you what to say. We are telling you what to do. You put your hands up in protection mode, but should you take a shot to the jaw, we will be here fighting for the cannabis community and all citizens because we are the Pot Brothers at law. There you go.
Well done. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
You wrote that yourself?
I wrote that about 8 or 9 years ago out of frustration from clients who weren't shutting the fuck up for me, and put it on a shelf. Never thought I would ever use it for anything.
Wow. Well, I'm sure that you have a cut of that probably everywhere, but when we get this video rendered and uploaded, I'll cut you a little clip and I'll send it to you.
That's great. Yeah, there's actually a micro movie of it that I shot in all around Oklahoma. That's it's on YouTube. It's going around. If you am I being detained? Am I slam poem? Am I being detained? Am I free to go? Pot Brothers at Law. Pop right up. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Well done.
Thank you.
That was great. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience?
I'm good. I appreciate the platform and sharing with your audience, and we'll have to get you on one of our. We have the Shut the Fuck Up show, and we'll have you on. Again, we're still figuring things out on Twitch, but it's the only show where you're going to come on and we're going to actually make sure you don't shut the fuck up.
I'd love to be on it. I appreciate the invite. Yeah, let me know when you're ready. And we'll
Absolutely. All right. Thanks again, man. You have a great day. Have a safe week.
All right, Mark. You too. Bye.